Growing up in a small town in Virginia, I didn't know what an investment bank was until I was a second or third year at UVA, and I was actually pre-med through college. But I kind of fell into a financial services job out of school almost 11 years ago, and pretty quickly kind of fell in love with analytics and equity research, just being able to dive into a space or a sector and trying to understand that better than anyone else. And it blends a lot of aspects of life that I really enjoy. I'm very competitive, I'm very analytical. I like to talk to people. Between my clients and the role and the competition, it's a perfect fit. So generally, we're positive on energy shipping right now. So crude tankers, product tankers, LPG. We see pretty favorable supply dynamics for the first time this decade. They're throwing off a lot of cash, and they tend to carry a pretty negative correlation to crude pricing. Our favorite space is probably floating LNG infrastructure, so regas and floating liquefaction. Floating liquefaction specifically is probably the biggest secular trend we're seeing right now, something we think is going to develop over the next decade. And on the cautious side, really the dry freight, so dry bulk, containerized trade, got pretty significant supply headwinds and pretty benign demand dynamics. So we're looking at pretty constrained cash flow growth within the spaces for the next year. The size of the space can be a bit daunting, considering that 95% of all goods touch a ship at some point during their life. So there's never a shortage of things to talk about or of industries to look at. That can be very good because we always have things to do, but it can be bad because we always have things to do and it never slows down, especially something that's so globally oriented. So there's always a market open somewhere, there's always something happening across one of those 7 or 8 verticals that we can touch on and we can follow. If I hadn't pursued a career in research, probably center fielder for the Yankees. I'm 33, so if Brian Cashman is watching this, just keep an open mind. I've got a little bit of a window left. To be honest, I can't imagine doing anything else. I've fallen in love with the space. I've been doing it for 10 years now. And it really is, it's incredibly interesting and consuming. And there's always something happening. There's always a new angle or way to look at something. And in my view, I really think I've got the most interesting job in Wall Street. Really, I touch just about every sector at some point will brush up against shipping in some way, shape, or form. And that to me is incredibly interesting.